Welcome to the Voice Summit LinkedIn. My name is Ian Utile. I'm the CEO at Attention Live. I also get to co-produce this event with Pete Erickson. I'm manning the media room, and I've said, come Andy from Lenovo. She is head of AI at Lenovo for North America, and we just heard her give an incredible opening keynote this morning, and so I wanted you to come and share a bit with me, and hopefully the audience will enjoy our conversation.
Well, thank you for having me, Ian.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So we met at Bradley Metrock's Project Voice X in Florida last month, and you gave a similar talk around all things enterprise AI and the tie into conversational AI and NLP, and that was with Robert, who helps lead innovation and AI. So give me an understanding. You've kind of been coming to the voice environment for the last month or so, and what's this community like? Just coming in as a new part of our community. What's it been like for you so far?
Wow, I love that word that you use, community, because I really do feel that way. I feel like I'm in a group of friends that are also really into technology and inspire me to think about what else I can do with AI. I typically focus on retail, QSR, and manufacturing, but voice is truly the future. Voice AI, conversational AI, and I get a lot more requests for help from those type of customers to implement those use cases. So it's really a nurturing group that it's helping me develop my ecosystem.
You talk a lot about ecosystem and the importance of your ecosystem team at Lenovo, and then also the ecosystem of like the different ISVs and also the partners like NVIDIA and Intel. Maybe we could start with just your team. Tell me a bit about your team at Lenovo that help you with all things AI.
Yeah, I have an amazing team. You mentioned Robert Daigle. He's the head of our worldwide AI. I also work with Nicholas Borsato out of Berlin. And what he does is really nurture the relationships with ISVs, and that stands for independent software vendors. And they're like the secret sauce that enable these solutions to work in our servers. But you also have to really work closely with the GPU manufacturers, such as NVIDIA, the CPU manufacturers, such as Intel. When you have a hybrid solution, which means edge to cloud, you're going to need to also work with your CSPs or cloud service providers, such as AWS or Microsoft Azure. So I work with those as well as the global system integrators, but it's so incredibly important that you have relationships with all of them and that really you have almost a camaraderie and a friendship, because you can't enable a solution just because my software is amazing and does the coolest things ever. That doesn't mean it's going to work well in a retail or a restaurant setting. You really have to have the right server with that right combination of GPU and CPU for it to be optimized on the platform.
And you just came from AWS's event in Vegas, the reInvent. And so that's like about as big of an event as there probably has been since the pandemic's happened, right? The tens of thousands of people, maybe 50, 60,000 people, but they invited you, from what you told me, to their like executive summit, which is a few hundred people, which is more like this environment.
Exactly.
So when you consider being in a huge environment of tens of thousands of people, like a reInvent main audience or CES, or you consider a smaller microcosm like what we have here or what they had with the executive summit, what is the benefit of the mass of people and the benefit of kind of the tighter community that you found when you go to meet people at a conference?
Yeah, there were benefits to both. At AWS reInvent, by being in the executive summit, pretty much everyone I ate lunch with or had coffee with was a C-level that was interested in enabling AI solutions. Whether they, most of them were trying to enable them in the cloud, because that's what they do. But there were also, I made a ton of connections of companies that, need a hybrid model, need to also be at the edge due to latency and security. And so I was able to connect with those type of folks, but then they had a giant expo and they had amazing, they had their Adam Zielinski, their chief executive officer. I was able to meet with him and see his keynote. And at the expo, I could see all the latest technologies from major corporations that are in our space. So I really enjoyed both aspects of that conference.
And you have a lot of different conferences coming up. I think you mentioned, Pete just mentioned a moment ago, you're going to be speaking at CES, January 6th for Voice at CES.
Yes.
You talked about NRF on the stage. And so you have these, I think, Dr. Terry Fisher announced that you're one of the voice fluencers on the Voice Den next Wednesday, a week from today.
I'm looking forward to that as well, yes.
He gave you a nickname, the Enterprise AI Evangelist. I think that's pretty cool. So give me an idea. You have these things like the Voice Den, that's an online deal. You have like Voice at CES, another kind of small group inside of a large group, and NRF, which I think is maybe the largest retail conference in the world?
Yes, it is, and I have, I'm leading a panel of 7. So we'll also have Kroger, the head of asset protection, on our panel. We'll have an ISV on the panel called Everseen, and we'll have Compass Group, which is the largest institutional QSR chain in the world at 21 billion, the CTO from there, as well as Loss Prevention Research Council, the head of that group, and a representative from NVIDIA and myself, and our moderator. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's January 18th at 11:30 in New York City.
And Kroger came out publicly that their partnership with you at the NVIDIA conference. And then today, I think, was the first time I've seen publicly that McDonald's is now the big relationship that's happened with McDonald's. So those are 2 huge brands, right? Kroger and McDonald's. And to have them come and say, hey, we lean on Lenovo and Lenovo's partners and NVIDIA and this ISV and that ISV, that's a big thing for Lenovo to have these huge brands say, this is who we trust. For the other global brands that have not yet looked into what you do with edge computing, AI, and all that ties into the voice, conversational AI, NLP, where do they start? If people say, okay, what can Lenovo really do for us with these edge servers? What can their ISVs do for us? Where is the starting point of exploring the opportunity?
That's a great question, because when you think about artificial intelligence, the first word that comes to mind is not usually Lenovo, right? It's usually either NVIDIA, or it's one of the ISVs that have sparked a C-level to think, I want that. I want the art of the possible with artificial intelligence. But then they get stuck and they're like, well, maybe I'll put that on my future technology roadmap. And that's what frustrates me, because AI is really easy if you have the right partners to help you enable the solution. So to answer your question, what I would do if I really wanted to enable a use case is I would contact someone like myself at Lenovo, and I would help you bring the ecosystem together. So let's say you said to me, you know what, I'm a retailer and I want to enable asset protection for self-checkout because I have too much theft. People are, instead of scanning 1 pack of batteries, they're scanning 3 and walking out the door. How do I protect my company against that? And so we can help you with intelligent video analytics. We can bring in the exact ISV that enables that solution. But then don't trust that it's just going to work on any server that you select. You need to have the right GPU, CPU combination on the right server maximized for your application. So we can bring all those players together, and we're so close that we actually present to customers together. It's not it's not a hands-off approach at all. We're actually friends and partners.
Right. Well, as we wrap our conversation, because I know you want to get in for the next keynote that's happening, Reed, your son, he interns for our company at Attention Live, and he's been able to kind of hang out and spend time with our team, and he came here with us. So he got to see his mom speak on stage, and you called him out and had him stand up and bring things to you. So I think you had in your bio, you're a mother of 4, and then you have your dog. That was in the bio on the sheet. And so what's it like to have one of your children come and kind of be in your business environment? And what do you think about this as a first experience for your son to kind of see what mom does?
Right. I love that it's the voice community, because they're so welcoming and nurturing, and they're inspirational, right? I think Reed had the opportunity to meet some people that are the future of AI. So that was amazing. But in terms of what it's like to be a mother presenting in front of your child, I felt this innate desire to explain all the concepts because I knew he didn't know what edge was or a server was, or not even sure he knew what AI is. I don't even think he knows what I do. So it was a very unique experience. And I'm so glad that you've offered him this opportunity to learn about NFTs as well, which I didn't know much about when I met you.
Right. Yeah, well, I'll talk more about that at the end of the day. I'm doing the final keynote on the future of NLP and NFTs, which kind of is the conversational AI and the blockchain group. And so hope that
Looking
you
forward to
enjoyed
that.
that, all of you. Thanks for watching us live. We appreciate your attention. I'm not going to keep Andy any longer. I'm going to let her get back to the event. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. It was so good to see you.
You too. Goodbye, everybody. I'll be back again soon.